fix my hair.
Hello, everyone. Too late. We get to watch you fix your hair. How we doing? How we doing? Welcome, everyone, to the stream. We're back. Episode 32. Episode 32. Can you believe it?
Consistent. I just realized.
What's that?
I didn't realize last time. Nothing on this page says RUM-Gaming on it anymore. You need to, like, modify the ship or something.
I can fix that. I will fix that.
It'd be cool if, like, right next to the spade, instead of that, like, alien language, it said RUM-Gaming. Find a way to blend that in there.
Yeah. I'll have to figure that out.
Add that to the project list.
Yeah. But anyway, news. Do we have any news updates? Anything fun or interesting over the past week?
Well, if you'll notice, there's no more pink machine behind me.
Mm-hmm.
It's finally migrated to the top of the shelf that you can't see. Then it's more permanent home running the ARC server that we have, mostly finalized. We're still trying to fine tune the specs and whatnot as we get input from people.
Yeah.
Just need more people to give us input.
Yeah, need more people to play on it. I gotta adjust my camera because I'm getting a little bit on my desk. I guess that could be part of my news. I got a new desk for my setup. You can see some of it here. It's, the wife and I, we got matching L desks. And you can see it's a bit messy right now, but it's got shelves and like a little pegboard to put stuff. So that's pretty neat. I'm excited about that.
Just one day you need to get a curtain rod. As it's never gone hard down.
Okay, I think we're back. Apologies. Yeah. Apologies for that. Looks like we may have had like a little blip in my internet. Should be good.
That's what you get
now.
for moving your camera around.
Yeah, it's my fault. My fault.
So anyway, the goat news, that's pretty much it. I've been well, actually, you can kind of see above the 3D printers, you can see the rum ship and Buford and Blue.
Yeah.
I finally we moved into this office in like February or March 2023, and I'm just now hung up our wall decor this weekend.
Yeah.
So finally displaying. We got the rum ship, Buford, Serenity, and Juggernaut. And then I still have what are these things called? Where the pictures are all split into smaller images. I forget what that shit's called. Whatever it's called. I got one of Jack Skellington for Nightmare Before Christmas. Haven't put that one up just because it's a little bit more of a pain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, making the office look more like an office.
Yeah, same here.
Realized that the wife has way more prints, like the rum ship on the wall. We have every time we go to conventions. We like looking at booths and artists that make things around that size. And
good evening, Gert. We're having some internet issues, so if we go down, I do apologize. Looks like we're skipping and lagging around. I'm dropping some frames.
Okay. So I was saying that I thought I had a lot because when we were in the smaller office, we have the exact same frames are from a local film group that was in town. Or not in town. It was another like nonprofit, like film enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
And they would show viewings of a movie once a month, and they have made little mini movie posters every time they showed a movie. And so we had like 10 of those on the wall of all of our favorite movies. So we had these like 10 movie posters, the rum posters, my posters. The wife has like 8 different prints from conventions. But when we moved in here, I decided not to put the movie ones up because they're not doing that anymore, and it takes a lot of space. So
yeah.
I'm going to try and make like a collage out of them or something.
Yeah. I've got the same thing. I've got like so many like really cool like prints from different conventions. And a friend of mine for my birthday years ago, he when I think it was when the original Borderlands came out, he ordered like the deluxe like limited package thing deal, where it came with like art and and the, you know, figurines and like the nice metal box for the new game or whatever. And he kept the art that came in like this really cool envelope. And a few years ago, he gave it to me for my birthday. And so I've got like all these really, really cool, like Borderlands prints. And it's just, I love them so much, but with what I want to do with this office, they don't have a place in this room. So I have to find a place to hang them all up. And I'm thinking it's probably going to end up being in my garage. I'm going to like nerd out my garage with all like my cool, like video game prints and stuff.
The problem with mine was I did all the wife's first, and I took her stack of stuff and I laid it out like against the other wall. Like, okay, this is everything we have. Came up with like a plan of attack of where to put what. Put all her shit up, and I'm like, all right, now let me do mine. And like, I put out like 4. I was like, what? I thought I had a bunch, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I guess it was some of the other things that we left in the bedroom. There's a giant Yoda puzzle that the wife put together in a frame for me. It's one of those where each piece is like 1,000 pictures. You know?
Yeah.
I forget what those are called, but we left that in the bedroom, and then there's a giant puzzle that I framed that's like every Star Wars character.
Well, that's pretty
and
cool.
we left that one in there. And so it's like, I guess I always kind of considered those and the movie posters like part of my stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, once you take the movie posters and the Star Wars ones we left in there, well, now I just don't have shit.
Yeah. My the wife, she I'm sure you remember, but one of the things that I remember about Tina a lot, for those of you who don't know, Tina is Goat's mom, my stepmother. She really loved Thomas Kincaid paintings. I always remember there being Thomas Kincaid paintings just all over the house, always. Well, it's funny enough, my wife has started collecting and building and framing some puzzles that she found that are Disney puzzles painted by Thomas Kincaid.
Yeah, we got a bunch of those puzzles.
Yeah.
I got several of them framed as well.
Yeah,
we just don't hang them up.
They're so cool. They're so good. They're so pretty. And like, she's got them, she's got plans to hang them up, and I'm excited for them to go up on the walls. I think they're probably going to go up in the bedroom, either in the bedroom or in her craft room / spare bedroom. I don't know yet. That's really up to her. But
yeah, if you need some frames, like, I have all the arms to build your own frames because I bought like the wrong sizes.
Oh, really?
So like a whole bucket. Might have to see if they meet your size requirements.
Yeah, I'll have Shelby put a list together, and we'll see what we can scrounge up.
Yeah, see, I don't think I have anything in here that I framed myself, but I made a whole bunch of, like I said, I was framing all the wife's puzzles and diamond prints and stuff.
Yeah. In other news, we had the first and probably only big freeze of the year in Houston a few days ago. And unfortunately, I sustained a little bit of issue from the freeze that I was hoping we wouldn't have, because the house is brand new and it was designed with freezes in mind. It's got like the special piping so that it expands if the pipes freeze and things of that nature. But turns out I probably need a new backflow preventer. Today.
Pipe in the ground?
Well, so it's actually above ground in our house. There's like a little bell on top. But anyway, I'm sitting here, working today, and somebody knocks on my door, and I open it, and it's just like this young kid, and he was like, "Hey man, I was walking to my house from the bus stop, and I saw a bunch of water spraying out of a pipe next to your on the side of your house." And I was like, "Oh shit." So I go out there, and there's just water just spraying out of this like bell thing on the side of my house. And I see a valve underneath it, so I go and I cut the valve off. And I'm like, shit. what is that? So I have a contact with my the company that warranties my house.
Yeah.
And so I called the guy and I was like, hey man, I just want to let you know, I've, walked out. Somebody told me my pipes on the side of my house are spewing water. He's like, oh, that sounds like backflow preventer. He's like, we just had a freeze. Did you turn your your irrigation system off? And I was like, well, yeah, I went on the panel. I deactivated this winter. I'm not using it. He was like, well, yeah, but did you turn it off? And I'm like, well, no. What do you mean? He was like, oh, you got to go. He was like, go around to where that pipe was, and there should be like a whole, a cylinder in the ground. You pull that out, there should be a valve down there. I was like, yeah, I see it. There's a valve in the ground under like this cover. He was like, yeah, turn that valve to go, across the pipe, not in line with the pipe, but across it. And I was like, okay. So I turned that valve. He's like, okay, now that one main valve that you pulled, do that one. Like, okay, all right. So I changed them out, the other valve back, and all the water stopped. He's like, okay, now you got to bleed the pressure out, and replace it. I was like, shit.
Wait,
all
why
right.
the fuck do you got to replace it?
Well, because
don't you have a home warranty?
I do, but because it was during the freeze and it has to do with my irrigation system, it's not covered under the warranty.
Yeah, I think it would still be.
Well, because apparently I was supposed to have turned it off.
Well,
the
because it's
irrigation
your fault.
system.
They're not going to pay for it.
Right. I was supposed to have turned the irrigation system off. I didn't even know. Nobody told me that.
Yeah, so like it was part of your manual or something.
Right. It may have been, and I must have either missed it or forgot. But yeah, whatever. And come to find out, it's like a $200 to $400 fix, which kind of sucks. But I have a few connections. But yeah, sustained some injury from the freeze, but that's okay.
Well,
everything works. The house gets water just fine. I was able to isolate the water main from the irrigation system, so I'm not just like flushing water through my irrigation system. I just can't use my sprinkler system until I get it fixed.
Yeah, it's just nothing you need to get fixed right now.
Exactly, which is a blessing. A blessing in disguise. It's like it's winter. I'm not using it to water my grass. I don't need it right now. It'll be fine. That one can wait. But yeah, anyway, now that how long are we in? We're about 10 minutes in. We'll talk about our topic for the night. We are
going to recap on what we talked about last week.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
Let's
can't
go
remember.
ahead. Let's go ahead and recap what we talked about last week. We talked about weird news stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was weird news stories.
Yeah, so weird news stories last week, and this week we're kind of potentially on the line of weird. Depending, some of them might be weird, but talking about unique and unusual or unheard of MOSs with the Army and Navy.
Yeah. Next week we'll do Air Force and Marines. Freezing again Friday night, maybe Saturday. Well, I mean, the shit's turned off, so
Yeah.
It's off now, so I don't have to worry about it. Gert, by the way, if you know anybody that knows how to replace it or knows that can cut me a deal on getting it done, let me know.
Speaking of that, similar freezing issue, except it was much longer lasting over here. It's frozen several times, but it actually got down to like 0 and -1 for several days in a row. And usually every year, my kitchen sink freezes. Just not like damage wise, it just water won't come out of it.
Well, that's right, because your kitchen sink is on an exterior wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we can still, like, we never have any problems with anything else. We can still shower, use both bathroom sinks, both toilets, the washer and dryer. But every year if there's a freeze, the kitchen sink freezes for a few days. Yeah, but usually around here the freeze only lasts, like 1 day. It's like not a huge deal. But this time it was lasting, like it froze like Saturday and was still frozen today.
Yeah.
And on like Monday, I put a space heater, like aiming it at under the sink with the doors open, left it there for like a couple hours, didn't do shit. Today we went ahead and did overkill, and we like shut the door to the kitchen, put a sheet up on the other doorway, opened the oven, and put the space heater in there, and opened every cabinet. Made it like fucking 90 degrees in the kitchen.
Oh God, did it work?
Yeah, it worked.
Nice, nice.
So,
Well,
sorry.
that was gonna be my next question. Have you like thought about just like wrapping the fucking pipes under your sink? Just
Well,
leaving them like that, or
they're
is
in the
it?
wall.
It's in the wall.
Yeah, I'd have to like pay somebody to come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just funny though. The dishes are just piling up because we can't use the dishwasher or the sink, and it's like, unless we're gonna go wash them in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, finally got it to work, and it was mostly, the lesson learned of like how you're supposed to like leave your sink on with like a drip going to keep it, help prevent it from freezing.
Yeah.
I forget every year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I felt like I did everything right, man. This for the freeze, I was like, all right, freeze is coming up. I feel like I know what I need to be doing. I'm gonna get this done. I went out and covered all the plants, right? I went and we bought like, well, we had some of like the spigot, like the foam protectors that you put
Yeah,
over
the
this.
covers.
Yeah, covers. So I went and I put covers on all the spigots around the house, and I was like, right, we may have to postpone this.
No, it came
Oh,
right
we're
back
back up. We're back up. We're
Yeah,
good.
it's just a few seconds.
This is gonna be a rough one. I'm testing whether or not the mesh Wi-Fi thing that I installed was actually working or not, and it seems like it may have been better. But then
It
again,
sounds like it's worse without it.
I haven't had any like internet droppages since removing it up until now.
Yeah, maybe it's just a bad night for it.
Maybe, who knows?
It's too cold out.
Yeah. But I apologize if the stream keeps going down. We'll try and keep it as streamlined as possible and as smooth as possible if we do go down.
Well, do you want to start with your Navy jobs first?
Yeah, we'll start with my Navy jobs first. I found 5 different jobs in the Navy that I found that I thought were pretty interesting. A couple of which I have no earthly idea what they do. So it'll be a fun learning experience. The first one that I came across that really caught my eye was entomologist. Now, I mean, I know what an entomologist is, but I didn't know that there were like military entomologists, which I thought was pretty interesting.
You
I
can
figured,
explain to the class what they are.
yeah. So, trying to find
People who study insects as a career.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they're insects. Which that's crazy to me. Like, I figured that would be something that was like, government contracted, civilian contracted.
Yeah.
But no, apparently that's a job in the Navy. They'll assess and reduce disease risk for different areas that troops may be in. They'll do they'll implement like disease and pest control systems, disaster relief and humanitarian operations. They'll go and do a lot of that. Yeah.
Study of bugs.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It seems like they do a lot about diseases and things like that as well, which is really, really, really cool. So what is the work environment according to the
I'll just say real quick, it's going over lists like this is funny, because we've had this discussion with other people in the past, and I've been talking with the kid about with the military, like almost every job in the civilian world, there's some equivalent to it in the military, for the most part.
Well,
you don't,
in a lot
you don't
of
really
cases,
see hyper specific things like an entomologist, but you see things like animal care.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, right? Like, military jobs will put you in a position to take a multitude of different jobs in that industry, because your one job in the military could very well be 5 or 6 different jobs in the civilian sector.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of surprised. I was when so specific. You think it would be something like, you know, hazmat and disease control or something, and then
Yeah.
somewhere in there you have an entomologist,
Yeah, no,
not
apparently,
just specifically
yeah, the entomologist does
entomologist.
all of that. Excuse me. But yeah, apparently they can be stationed anywhere. More than 250 Navy and medical facilities around the globe, from Hawaii to Japan, Germany to Guam, and Washington D.C. to Washington State.
You just gotta like bugs.
Yeah, you gotta like bugs. Training and advancement.
That'd be,
Upon
I don't
graduation
know.
from graduate school, you must attend Officer Development School in Newport, Rhode Island.
That kind of job would be both very interesting, but not.
Yeah,
Because like,
it looks like you have to be an officer to be an.
I mean, you're not obligated to tell your civilian employer about anything, but
Yeah,
definitely not
no.
PTSD.
Yeah, no. As a matter of fact, your employer isn't allowed to ask you what your
Yeah.
disability is. They're only allowed to ask you if you have one.
But if you're trying to get accommodated for it, again, you still don't have to, but it will make your life a lot easier
Yeah,
if you work together.
yeah,
Because I know like a few of my friends that have PTSD and work a civilian job, some of them have actually ended up getting like FMLA, so they can take off whenever they need, whenever it gets overwhelming and whatnot, and they need to stay home or go home early or whatnot. It becomes a slippery slope on both sides because it's something that's easily taken advantage of. Because it's not like, if you're have some kind of medical condition, you can tell there's something wrong with you. But with PTSD, it's not like there's really physical signs.
yeah,
You can just be like, oh, I'm stressed out, going home. But
yeah.
because I have seen plenty of people abuse it as well.
But yeah, to answer your question directly, PTSD is a disability, and no, you are not obligated to tell anyone about it. By law, you do not have to tell anyone.
I didn't even see it was 2 questions. I just saw the last one.
Yeah. It's actually, it's against the law for them to ask you what your disability is. All you have to do is disclose that you are disabled and proof of that disability. Whether that
so
be
there's the one thing.
doctor's
You do
note.
have to actually get it proven. You can't just say you have PTSD.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you have to be an officer to be an entomologist.
Oh, yeah. I was saying that I'm fascinated by creatures in general, like animals, bugs, whatever. And I feel like that'd be a really cool job, except I would just never want anything to be on me.
Yeah.
Like, I am fine with looking at anything, being near anything. But these people that just let them walk all on you, I'm like, man, I don't know.
No.
Even when you tell me they don't bite, they're not poisonous, I'm just like,
Still
it's fine.
creepy.
He can stay in this cup.
Yeah.
I'll hold the cup in my hand, no problem. But I just don't really like things walking on me.
Yeah. But interesting. I thought that was pretty interesting. It's not something I expected the Navy to employ. I figured that'd be like a civilian contract type. Another one that just is just a cool sounding title. It was aerospace experimental psychologist. So responsibilities. As a research specialist and officer in the Medical Service Corps, your research will promote and ensure the safe and effective performance of Navy and Marine Corps personnel in aviation systems. This role may include providing professional and technical guidance to plan and conduct research and development, test and evaluate the psychological effects of new aviation systems on flight crews, employ your skills. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna. Not that I thought I didn't know it was that long of a description.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to just interrupt you, but it was just. I actually just recently rewatched Top Gun for the first time in like 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, right in the beginning, one of the guys, I think they call it like getting burnt out or something. Like, he mentally loses it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's what this job is for, is to help the people, like in the beginning of Top Gun, that lose their shit and they're like, no, I can't get back in the plane. I can't do it. You know?
Yeah.
It's almost like a PTSD kind of thing, but it, not from combat, it's just from the stress and realizing that you could die at any moment, or the guy behind you that's your co-pilot could die with you.
Yeah. The third bullet point in responsibilities specifically says employ your skills in human factors engineering to find ways to lessen the impact and emotional effects that accompany supersonic precision maneuvers in an FA-18 Hornet strike fighter, specifically fighter pilots.
This is such a coincidence. I literally watched it like a month ago, and I was like, I'm like, oh, that's exactly what that guy's job is to help that guy that got burnt out.
Yeah. And it sounds like the fourth bullet point is assist with personnel selection and training. So they're probably one of the people that you have to talk to before you can even become a pilot.
Yeah, to like predetermine whether you're ready or not. But the alien scene in the mall in Miami.
Yeah, I saw that. Here's the thing. With the way that AI is these days, I don't believe it for 1 second.
Oh, dude, there's so many TikToks out there about like shit they're finding in Antarctica and shit they're finding in the ocean.
Here's the thing. All these alien things are while interesting, I don't give them any credence until we have credible scientists and personnel acknowledging them for what they claim to be. During my service, have I seen any UFOs or UAPs? No. No, I haven't. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, I take that back. Yes, I have seen at least 1,000 UFOs in my lifetime.
Just because you don't know what they are.
Well, if I don't know what it is, it's an unidentified flying object. So
yeah, but unidentified doesn't mean by you.
Yeah, well, I know that. I know. It's a joke.
But yeah, I get it. No. I've never really seen anything that stands out, There's always, questionable things in the shadows and whatnot, but
yeah.
I'm not really a big superstitious ghost alien monster kind of person. I'm more like, who's that motherfucker in the dark? But that does bring a good point. After watching a lot of these videos, I think we should have another conspiracy theory episode and pull some up, because apparently there's a whole bunch about Antarctica.
Yeah.
And then I watched a clip about some of the things that there's a theory out there that octopus are actually aliens that came from a meteor. It's just like, man, the things they come up with, man.
I'm fairly certain that science has proven exactly where octopi come from. Yeah. But yeah, aerospace and aerospace.
It's the one about Antarctica. Yeah. But like Antarctica's like owned by every country or something, and it's crazy. But that really made me want to fall down the rabbit hole for Antarctica. But I'll save it for our conspiracy stream.
We'll do those at least once every couple of months, it seems. Just every time a few months have gone by and there's some new interesting ones, we'll cover them. The next one I have on my list here was one that I thought was actually genuinely kind of weird. But it was an industrial hygiene officer. Now I have no earthly...
It's when you need the big toothbrush.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I imagine, right? It's just like, Bob the Builder with a giant toothbrush. Like,
well, I imagine it's more like field sanitation, when you got to like build the showers, build the latrines, keep the what do you call it, the cook place, the kitchen, gray water and all that. There's a whole list of things, but normally that just falls under, the gray water falls under the cook's MOS, and the latrines falls under like the, quartermaster, supply sergeant's MOS.
Yeah. So the description: safety in the Navy is about more than detecting enemy ships on sonar. It's about making sure sailors have workplaces that are free of hazards.
Oh.
Industrial hygiene officers are tasked with inspecting work environments and ensuring their safety. Occupational practices like wearing proper safety gear, storing hazardous materials correctly, and keeping work areas properly cleaned are just a few ways sailors can prevent accidents and injuries. So,
Yeah, because like close quarters on a ship.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
So
So
things will spread like the plague.
their main responsibilities include assessing workplace risks and providing consult and recommendation to the Navy COs and their leaders. Yes, military OSHA.
No, actually, well, I don't know about in the Navy. In the Army, we actually had OSHA would come out, and
Yeah,
there was
so did we.
there was a safety representative with each unit, and I was that safety representative.
Yeah, we
Had
would
to
have
give OSHA tours of everything.
we would have OSHA come out as well, but apparently there's also like we have our own internal OSHA that I'm sure, I'm almost 100% positive goes by stricter guidelines than OSHA does.
Well, but I think the OSHA stuff is more of a side part of their job. I think it's more about like keeping everybody on the ship from fucking dying
Yeah,
from
it
sickness.
says providing direction for the Navy's environmental and occupational health, conducting training and inspections in industrial or operating settings aboard ships and shore-based workplaces or in the field.
Yeah, I mean, you can apply it anywhere. Same kind of concept like the Army in tents. I mean, you still have to maintain a certain amount of hygiene level out in the field too, but I just imagine on a ship for, 30, 60 days at a time, like,
Yeah.
that's a lot more close quarters going on.
Yeah.
Like, and, the difference is, somebody, well, I guess you can isolate people on a ship too, but somebody in the field gets sick, I can just ship them back to the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm not stuck on the boat.
And again, you have to be an officer to do that job.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Those kind of jobs, the ones you're listing in the military, that's typically like some kind of warrant officer's position.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one I had.
Do they have warrant officers?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Matter of fact, in a lot of cases, warrant officers are more respected than actual fully fledged officers. Because most warrant officers have been in the military, or that are been in there longer than dirt.
Are they the same as Army warrant officers?
They are above chiefs and they are commissioned officers, but they're not officers.
As I said, so in the Army, it's like a whole separate, like, side branch of the officers.
Okay. Yeah.
So
same in the Navy.
Separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same in the Navy. As a matter of fact, I got to witness a warrant officer tell the skipper of a ship to get the fuck out of his office. And the skipper was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, because they still hold equal ranks to their, lateral equal ranks.
Yeah. But the next one I found, which I thought was a really, really cool job, was a research biochemist and forensic toxicologist. So they
I like Gert's description of the other guy's job.
It's a mom. Did you wash your hands, brush your teeth, clean up your mess? Yep. They I mean, and that they do, the biochemists and forensic toxicologists do exactly what their title says. They do forensic toxicology and biochemistry. They serve as a member of a deployable CBRE, chemical, biological, radiological, and environmental training team. So they basically help defend us against biological, chemical, and nuclear weapons. That's pretty important.
It's funny. You can't even, when you look up like Army rank charts, half of them don't even show warrant officer.
They'll use the new cloaking device to hide the trash. Now you're making me want to have to research this apparently new cloaking device. Am I missing something?
This trash count makes me want to, speaking of the conspiracies, I want to fall down the rabbit hole of the, what is it, the giant trash swirls or whatever in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting technologies that I've seen, clips of them introducing, but use a VPN when you do that. You start researching cloaking devices, next thing you know, that's a one-man stream.
Thin sheet cloaking device. I think I may have heard something about that, but it looks like a piece of glass, but it refracts light around to the side, so you can stand behind this piece of glass and it looks transparent, but it's actually refracting light around you.
Invisibility cloak, man.
Yeah. But anyway, the final job that I picked out. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, so I have heard about that. Yeah. You can actually, that's actually pretty simple to make. You can make those with common things. Apparently you like a TV lens works kind of similar. Like a flat screen, like plasma TV screen works real similar. But anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I've seen those too. That is a see-through TV.
Yeah. The final one I saw was Mind Man. And it comes with a video, and so I think I'm gonna share the video here. Let's go ahead and pull that up.
You never really know what you're gonna find on the.
Oh, you know what? Here, let me see if I can pull up the video or the audio so we can hear it. Give me 1 second. Audio input source. And it's gonna be, no, it's not. Application. On the fly. I'm doing it. We're doing it live.
Yeah, apparently.
Here we go. Boom. Okay. I have to pause the music.
Inquiring minds need to know.
All right, here we go.
Bottom of the ocean. You never really know what you're gonna find on the bottom of the ocean floor.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it right there. That we were talking about this before stream, but the Army, they use MOSs. They use numbers and letters to determine, to delineate what job is what. In the Navy, we use like 2 to 3 letters. So they just showed it right there. The MOS for a mine man is MN.
Our job is to enter minefields. Our job is to clear minefields with a combination of hunting and sweeping.
Is this like a
Mines are incredibly cheap, and the threat of a mine alone is enough to halt global shipping. It can take upwards of a week or two to clear a few square miles. We're a wooden ship, one of the few wooden ships in the Navy. The real key here is that we have to remain non-magnetic in order to make sure that we're safe in a minefield.
We try to mimic a ship bigger than us by using our equipment. So we have acoustic devices that can simulate the sound of a engine room or propeller. We also have a magnetic cable, mimics the magnetic signature of a bigger ship.
And then we use a remote operated vehicle operated through our Combat Information Center in order to identify that mine and then neutralize it.
All stations, this is the tag. Have a contact bearing 107, range 148 yards.
There's 2 main types of mines. You have moored and a bottom mine. Moored mines are basically all the same. If you run into it, it'll explode. Bottom mines can be anything from seismic if the ship's wave is.
Sorry, this is interesting, man. We'll go ahead and we'll get back to it. Sorry. So yeah,
you, what the fuck are they talking about?
they are. You can't hear it on the stream. They're
Kin.
they
What's
are
the short description.
They are minesweepers essentially. They go and they search for mines.
But just water mines, right?
Yeah. What they were saying is the ships that they use, which is really, really interesting in itself, are wooden. There's some of the few wooden ships in the Navy. The reason they do that is because they don't want to have a magnetic signature. But they have equipment on the ship that will that is designed to make the ship seem bigger than it actually is. So they have like these magnetic strips that'll like mimic the signal of like the magnetic signature of a larger ship. and they have like these unmanned vehicles that'll go and identify it and stuff like that. It's a really really cool looking job.
Yeah. It's basically like the Army equivalent of the EOD, explosive ordnance.
Yeah, but yeah, water. Yeah,
because they have all kinds of
yeah.
fucking
The
anti-tank sweeper, mine sweeper.
yeah, the Navy has an
vehicles
EOD squad as well.
I
But
figured that was part of it.
no, this is a completely different thing. This is ocean based. EOD is land based. They typically work with the SEAL team. There's typically always an EOD guy in a SEAL team.
Well, I just figured there would be like I said, in the Army, you have like the driver title, and there's all the different types of drivers. So I figured that would be like one type of EOD would be the water mine people.
Well, let's see. What's the training and advancement look like? So after RTC and Great Lakes, you go to A school. Yeah, no, you just have to go to boot camp. There's no like special training for it. You go to boot camp and then you go to A school for it. It's not like you have to go to like a separate thing like for Spec Ops.
Yeah. EOD, man, those
guys are
crazy people.
Crazy, dude. Yeah. Whoever says I want to go out and disarm bombs for a living is fucking crazy.
We're just thinking a weird adrenaline junkie,
Yeah. That's nuts to me. But anyway, you have a list to go through, don't you?
Oh, was that the last one?
Ben, you were going to be EOD? Oh, it takes a special kind of breed. There are two people that have two jobs in the Navy, at least, that you have to be a special kind of breed for. Number one, EOD, and number two, anything in a submarine.
I was gonna say, or like the divers, like underwater welding divers and shit.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, a friend of mine who I met when I was stationed in Florida. He worked at the hospital. He was a corpsman, and he ended up moving rates. He went to go be a Navy diver, and he made it. He went through the whole program. He ended up becoming a diver. I'm super proud of him.
Can't help but think about that movie with was it Gooding Jr., right?
Oh yeah. Cuba Gooding Jr. Yeah.
Can't remember the name of it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cookie.
But what's funny about this guy, and this is something that we've talked about before, but it really speaks to the nature of like military relationships. I met this guy while I was stationed in Florida, and we hung out the entire time in Florida. And then once I left Florida, we didn't really ever talk that much again. Like every once in a while we'd talk. We talked for like 45 minutes or whatever. But when I got married, I told this guy that I told him I was getting married, and as a joke, I invited him to the wedding. And this motherfucker came. He was stationed in Guam at the time, doing his Navy diver stuff. He came from Guam to come to our wedding, slept on the floor of our apartment. And it's like, man, I hadn't talked to him in like 2 years prior to that. Just out of the blue, messaged him, "Hey man, I'm getting married. You should come." As a kind of a joke. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll be there."
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm just older and lazy nowadays. It's like, I feel like if one of my biggest military buddies called me and said, "Hey, I need you to travel across the country," I'd be like, "You paying?"
Well, see, I didn't know he was in Guam. He made that decision on his own. If he'd have told me he wasn't even in the country, I'd have been like, "All right, man, you don't have to come." It was kind of a joke. I just figured I'd let you know. But no, he fucking showed up.
Well, some of my list are more like I just wanted to know what they were because it sounded interesting. So like we were saying earlier, years ago by just a letter abbreviation, all the Army jobs is 2 numbers followed by a letter. And they kind of get pulled together. So like all the what we called like headquarters, like office personnel type people, were all 92 somethings.
Mm-hmm.
And just depending on which 92 you were, was whether you're a clerk or the supply sergeant or whatever. Same thing with like 88s was all different kinds of drivers, and mechanics are all like 60 somethings. I don't remember. But the first one though was a 29 Echo. It's an electronic warfare specialist.
Oh, there's some of those in the Navy. We have some.
And
of
there's
those.
a couple other MOSs that sound more like hackers, but this one was a little bit more interesting. Electronic warfare made me wonder what exactly that was, and didn't really get anything super interesting. Like it just says like assist to support units, maintain and assist in developing electronic warfare staff estimate. like okay, oversees pre-combat inspections, pre-combat checks. I'm like that's it.
They probably run like signal jamming, UAV. They probably do a good fair amount of systems hacking.
There's a lot of MOSs that do those individual things.
Oh,
this one just more seems like an ops overseer.
Okay, so like the QA guy of that department.
Yeah, of like all those other MOSs.
Yeah. Which means you probably have to
cool at first.
Well,
like
I mean, that means
warfare specialist.
That means you probably have to be really, really good because you have to know what everybody else is doing too.
Yeah, you gotta know what all their jobs are. But yeah, it was just less of an exciting description.
Yeah.
I was thinking like nuclear bomb specialist or something. But
we've got some of those in the Navy. I can pull up some descriptions for you.
The next one. So again, the main number 42 is the. I always suck at this word. The adjutant. Is that right? Adjutant.
Mm-hmm.
General's Corp.
Okay.
Under this one, there's a couple that were interesting. Part of the ones I was saying, like I was trying to tell the kid, like you can be anything. And one of them's at 42 Romeo is just listed as a musician.
Yeah, Navy has musicians. Yeah.
And then there's 42 Sierra, special band musician.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is just HR, human resource specialist. So it's just kind of weird how those three were tied in there. The band and then HR.
Yeah.
All right. But I was curious, what's the difference between a musician and a special band musician?
I can tell you. There's something
I can tell you too. I got it pulled up.
Oh, well, yeah. Tell us. Let's see it. Let's see if it's different from the Army as it is from the Navy.
So the standard musician is the Army band's person specializes in one or more of the following, like it's specified by instruments. You have tuba, trombone, euphonium, bassoon, electronic bass guitar, saxophone, flute or piccolo, oboe, clarinet, French horn, percussion, cornet or trumpet,
Yep.
guitar, and keyboard. So it's like broken down by instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And then the special band musician is performs as a musician or in direct support of the U.S. Army Band, the field band, the academy band, or the 3rd Infantry, quote unquote, the Old Guard, Fife and Drums Corps.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically just the special band groups.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the Navy,
you're the elite musician.
Yeah. In the Navy, the musician rate, everybody has the musician rate. Like no matter what you're doing as a musician, that's your rate. But within the musician rate, there are different like categories. So you have like the main musician where you're playing, the balls and the events and things like that. And then you have like the special group where there's typically like singers and a choir, and they go out around the world,
competitions and
do
tours
like competitions and tours and shows, and that's what everybody sees on social media. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Some of the Navy band is really, really good, especially like the the public facing one that they post all the YouTube videos about. The
I mean,
the singing
they're all good.
acapella group is really, really good too.
It's like it's just interesting to think, you know, you could be a 4-year high school band geek basically,
Yeah.
and then join the military and continue it, and then you could retire from the military.
Yep.
As a musician, like it's just crazy that you could have guitar as your passion or something and retire from the military as a guitarist.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah, Ben, you really can do just about anything in the military.
What I am curious though is like, do you get to choose your instrument kind of thing, or do they kind of make you pick from what they need or what? Like I don't know how that works.
I don't either. I wish I knew. I'm sure if you already know an instrument, then they're gonna keep you on that instrument.
Yeah, but as far as I mean, I've never been in a high school band, but a high school band's like, look, we don't need 37 fucking flutists,
Yeah,
we need something else.
The difference, and I don't know if how this works in musician A school. I could probably look it up, but in high school, you just express what you're interested in, and then they fit you in. Like when I went to do band for the first time, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to play flute, or I wanted to play drums. And I sat down with the instructor, before everything started, with my parents. This was like before it started, and so I sat down with the band instructor, and he tried to like teach me how to like make the mouth movements for flute, and I couldn't get it down very right. And then he said that the spots were filled up for percussion. He was like, but you know what? You do look like somebody that'd be really good at trumpet. And so I tried trumpet, and that's what I ended up playing. And when I got to high school, they offered another opportunity because at least in band and in brass, and same thing with woodwinds as well, but in brass, the embouchure, the movement of your mouth, is very similar between the different instruments. So you can transition. It's just a little bit of a learning curve to try and learn the new embouchure. And they wanted me to play French horn instead of trumpet because they needed some French horn players.
You look like a triangle player.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would assume that's kind of how it works too. It's like, look, I know you play trumpet, but we kind of need a trombone player. Will you be interested in maybe switching to trombone? I don't know.
Well, yeah, at least if it's something in the same family, that makes sense. But if you're like a guitar player and they're like, we want you to play trombone, you're like, no, man, I gotta play guitars. You can switch me to a different type of guitar or something like that. But yeah, I'd be curious to.
Well, I mean, stringed instruments are very similar too. Like if you can play guitar, you could probably pick up mandolin pretty quick. You could probably pick up bass pretty quick. You could probably pick up harp pretty quick.
Well, that's what I
said.
But you wouldn't want to go, like you said, from like strings to fucking brass.
Oh yeah, I don't think they would do that. Because that requires a complete and total like ground up training, and I don't think the military has time for that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I said, if you're trying to make a band and you already have, 15 percussion, well, I don't need a 16th one. I need something else. So.
I actually genuinely think that you have to try out to be a musician in the Navy. I think you have to be selected. Like you have to, play your instrument. If you're good, then they take you. Then you get the.
Yeah. What if it's, kind of like you want to go airborne? You go to airborne school. You don't just sign up to be airborne.
Yeah.
So that would make more sense if it's not really like an MOS, but more like a specialty position to apply to.
Yeah.
So you would go in as like a mechanic and then apply to be a musician.
I don't think that's how that. Well, I mean, yeah, I think you could do that, but I know when I was joining, I could have joined as a musician and started as a musician. But then again, I played an instrument, so that's probably why they said that to me because I already played an instrument.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting to figure more about that because I would wonder, I wonder what their 40-hour work week is like too. It's like, what are you doing as a musician?
Practice playing your instrument.
8 hours a day.
Yeah.
PT in the morning followed by 8 hours of fluting. Go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Makes me wonder, or if it's just like Or, like I said, it'd make more sense if it's like a side MOS. So you're like a clerk and the musician. So
Yeah.
when there's nothing musician-y to do, you're just the clerk.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, so that's musician and specialty musician. Next, I have, what was the full thing here? Oh, it's just one. So a 51 Charlie is Acquisitions Core. Includes the Acquisition, Logistics, and Technology NCO. I was just curious what we're acquiring.
Sounds like it's just a basic supply officer.
Maybe. So well, that description just makes it more confusing. Let's go a little deeper. The official description is a highly critical career field established in December 2006 to meet the Army's continuous increasing need for contingency contracting officers in the modular force. Thanks. What the fuck do you do?
Yeah. I want to sign
Let's
up for
see.
that. That sounds interesting. What the fuck is it?
Responsible for the life cycle management process of the Army's new contracting NCO Corps.
Okay,
Which
so they handle
includes-
civilian contracting?
Handles the recruitment, retention, individual training, and education, distribution, sustainment, professional development of separation. NCO stands for non-commissioned officer, though. Active components.
You can have civilian NCOs.
No idea. Contracting NCO. Doesn't really say in the description that I understand.
It almost sounds like a liaison between like a
Oh, here we
civilian.
go.
Okay. Here we go.
So they have a vital job of providing forward contracting support to ongoing war zone and humanitarian missions in the world. So they set up things, like the food courts and the tents and stuff.
Oh, okay. They
whatnot.
coordinate all that. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Interesting. That'd be a pretty cool job.
Yeah, that's definitely has a lot of civilian
See,
applications.
Again, the adult in me, if I would have been choosing my list, that would have been like, I'm like, this has long-term usefulness for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you could go work at any food bank in America,
Well, anyway, I mean, you're going to be a, logistics specialist, acquisition
Yeah.
and logistics. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
You could take that almost anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I worked when I joined the Navy, I came in as a packed airman, PACT. What that meant was, I was attached to the aviation side of the Navy, but I didn't actually have a job. I had no rate. So I was doing whatever the military needed me to do within the aviation sector. When I first joined, my first duty station was in Florida, where I was working with the logistic team for the helicopter squadrons on the base. So I would, take inventory of the parts. We would deliver the parts to the squadrons and we would inventory like the pre-expendables. So all like the washers and nuts and bolts and O-rings and things of that nature. We had all of that in stock and we had to count them by the thousands every month. And I use that on my resume to this day because that's the valuable tools. That's data entry. That's time management. That's inventory. That's profit and loss. That's, all kinds of valuable real world skills.
Yeah. A lot of it was tough for me on my resume trying to put mine because it was like, other than like being the shop foreman, like all I could really say was I was a parts replacer.
Well, you have to learn how to take your job description down and break it down into the skills that come with it. So like as a shop foreman, you have management skills, you have
that's
delegation
what I said.
skills.
I said the only one that applied was my shop foreman.
Yeah.
Other than that, where it's like, as a combat medic, I'm like, well, okay. So you know how to put on a band. What does that do for me at my tech support job?
I can tell you exactly what that does for you. That keeps you calm under pressure. That that makes you effective in a stressful environment.
That's just the fucking military in general. What are you talking about?
Right. You know, you have to write your resume like you're writing an eval. Did you ever have to write your evals in the military?
No.
So in the Navy, most places make you write your own evals, and then you will submit it to your superior, and your superior will make their edits and then submit it, and then you get evaluated every year. I mean, I'm sure you do evaluations in the Army, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the Navy, you write your own. And so there are multiple courses that you go through and multiple classes that they make you take on how to take these what seem like minimal tasks that you do throughout the day and make them something what's the word I'm looking for? Marketable.
The problem though with a resume, at least for me, like when it came to writing, putting together my last one for my current job, it's like I'm 40 years old now, and we've gone over the job list. I've held like 20 different jobs.
Yeah.
I've done so much shit in my life. I could give you a 5-page resume. My problem is always wanted to condense it down into a, manageable, readable portion. And then once I'm talking to you, I just want to give you those bullet points to make you want to ask me more about it. Like, hey, I noticed you said something about being a combat lifesaver. What the fuck does that mean? You're like, well,
yeah.
Let me tell you. Like,
yeah.
I leave the descriptions for once you get me, sit it down in front of you. So the real struggle was trying to find a 2-page resume with enough bullet points that jump out to make you want to talk to me.
Yeah.
And then I'll break down those descriptors. It just made it hard trying to figure out, well, what's going to jump at you, what's relevant, what's going to be like, why the fuck did you put this on here? Like, I was certified to drive with night vision goggles on. Like,
yeah,
it's not really relevant, but it's still a unique certification that I got at one point in time.
Yeah, I don't know, but my mind, the way that I work, and the way that writing my own evals in the Navy has taught me, is when I'm applying for a job, I'm going to every employer gets a different version of my resume, because I'm going to tailor each resume I hand to you specifically to the job that I'm applying for. And for like a perfect example, you learned how to drive a truck in night vision. There's something that could be put on a resume about that,
Yeah, but is it going to override all the other things I could put in the resume?
Well, not necessarily, but again, if you do it how I do, where my resume is targeted to the job that I want, I'm not gonna put absolutely everything in there because it's not relevant. If it's not relevant, I'm not gonna put it in.
Well, no, but I wish I could. Be cool if I could have a 5-page resume. And
I do
take the time to read it.
I do. I have like a full blown, complete entire history resume, and then when I apply for jobs, I just pull from that relevant information onto a new resume that I then submit.
Yeah. So I got a lot of random skills. I haven't acquired too many new ones in the last 10 years, but man, in the Army, I was doing everything.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of cool stuff, man.
Speaking of cool stuff, the next one on my list is what was the actual MOS again? So I was talking about the 88s, right? I always knew 88 mics when I was in the Army as the drivers. So there's the guys that, they do like supply runs and stuff like that. They do fuel tankers, anything that's on a cargo hauling, basically, is an 88 mic. And didn't realize there was like 8 other 88s. And one of them's an 88 Papa, which is a railway equipment repair. Like a train mechanic.
That's fucking badass.
So there's 3 train jobs. So there's the railway equipment mechanic, there's the railway section mechanic, like the track mechanic.
Yeah.
And then a railway operations crew member.
Are
Like
there
a
really
train
that
driver.
many? Are there really that many like railways that the
Well,
military is using?
And that was my first thought, but then I thought, to my flashbacks in the army. Every time they haul equipment to like new training areas and things like that, they do it by train. They're not doing it by cars. You see it all the time. Trains just filled with Humvees and shit hauling down the tracks.
Interesting.
Like, that's how, when we were in Hawaii and we went to do training in Death Valley, or was that it? No, where were we? No, it was when I don't remember, somewhere along the lines. I drove all of our vehicles to the trains, got them on carts, and helped ratchet them down with the chain ratchets.
Damn.
So like,
I never
so
realized that.
Yeah, like I see it all the time. But I mean, the difference is like when I was doing that, yeah, we helped to load, but it was a whole civilian crew there.
Yeah.
I never realized there was an MOS for it somewhere too, but it makes sense. I mean, like I said, they haul shit all over the U.S.
Well, it looks like
by train.
those train guys are like they're only the maintenance crew. They're not like the actual conductors. It seems like maybe the
Well,
trains
one's
are
an
conducted by.
operations crew member, so that's
Well, I mean,
like a driver.
I don't know, man. Maybe that's like the guy that works in like the fucking electric or engine room. The civilians
Maybe.
are probably the ones that actually drive the trains, but the military is the one that maintain it and the tracks and everything. No.
Well, let's see what that MOS is. I looked up just their train mechanic because I thought that was interesting. Let's see what the crew member does. Yeah, it's all part of like Corps of Engineers,
Yeah.
the National Guard. A video. I think. There we go. Supervise and operates the Army's sophisticated diesel electronic locomotives. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
You perform car coupling and uncoupling, send and receive signals, execute orders from the towers, switches, and other personnel. Well, maybe not. I don't know. One says it looks like maybe just make sure everything flows. You're more
Yeah,
like the
that's what I'm
train
saying.
station operator.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're the guys that maintain everything, but the civilians actually drive them.
Yeah. Still though,
Interesting.
fuck, that'd be cool to go
yeah.
work at a train yard every day.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I wanna put an honorable mention. Are you done with your list?
No.
No. Okay, we'll go ahead. We'll do the honorable mention at the end. I don't even think this is a Navy MOS. Actually, I don't even think it's an MOS at all. But it's a position within the military that I think deserves some recognition for being an interesting job.
Another one. I can't remember if this was an MOS or just the title of all these ones underneath it. Let's see.
I'll look it up real quick.
No, I do have it here. No, I guess it's not. Yeah, that's all the ones under it. Okay. So, one group of MOSs is the Quartermaster Corps. It's provides water, food, parts, petroleum, and other products to Army operations. And there's several of them under there. There's like automated logistical, petroleum, parachute rigger, shower, and laundry. Water treatment specialist, which reminds me of that Pauly Shore movie.
Yeah.
Was it in the Army now?
Yeah. Love that
unit
movie.
supply specialist, which is just your supply sergeant that keeps all the shit that you need, like pens and paper. But the interesting one on here was mortuary affairs specialist.
Yeah, there's a mortuary in the Navy too.
Well, I mean, I guess again, I always just assumed that was just kind of a mix between like the chaplain's job and supply sergeant or logistics or something.
Yeah.
But no, apparently it's a whole MOS dedicated to inventory, safeguard, and evacuate personal effects of deceased personnel. Handling, like somebody dies out in the field, they handle the whole escort and ceremony service, things like that. So it's kind of interesting. Supervises recovery, collection, establish a tentative identification, escort, and temporary burial.
Yeah, that's a tough job, man.
God, that's what I was thinking. Like, that would kind of suck.
Yeah,
that's your whole
one of the
job.
worst fucking jobs, dude.
40 hours a week just dealing with death.
Yeah.
And I guess, like one thing, I don't know, I mean, I guess there's mortuaries everywhere, but I feel like it hits a little differently to be
Yeah.
the military mortuary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, man. But it's like, yeah, I guess I was just assumed that was part of like the chaplain's job, which is a whole nother weird one when you think about it. Is you don't have one for each denomination. It's just chaplain.
Really? You in the Army? You don't?
Well, I mean, they will, like, each chaplain will do something, but they're there to support you for anything.
Yeah. I know that the chaplains in the Navy, they have in the Navy. I don't know if the Army does the same thing, but in the Navy, you have each rate has like a special patch that they wear. That just by looking at the patch, you can see what their job is. Chaplains are unique in the sense that their rate is just a chaplain, but their patches will change based on their denomination. And typically, they'll have multiple different denomination chaplains in a military facility. But yeah, the chaplains almost serve as like therapists and counselors, and it doesn't really matter what their denomination is. They're going to help you out. You don't even have to be religious. You still will go to a chaplain for like counseling and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
So it says here, yeah, while each Army chaplain is a clergy person for their specific denomination or faith group and won't be asked to perform services or duties outside of their denomination, their role is to promote spirituality and faith as a whole.
Yes, general moral guidance. That's exactly right, man.
So yeah, they're not going to make the Mormon priest go to a Christian wedding. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a Mormon priest, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always just seen them. They just have like a captain's rank or major rank, and then on the other collar they have a cross. So they don't wear the rank on both collars. They wear one rank and one like cross to signify that they're a chaplain.
Yeah, some chaplains will have crosses in the Navy. Some will have the oh, I really don't want to get this wrong. The star for Judaism.
Yeah.
Some will have for like Hindu, they'll have their symbol. Yeah, it was really, really interesting kind of
I don't know if there is different symbols. I don't think I've ever seen one. Oh, no, okay.
Yeah.
There we go. So they have that looks like a ship wheel for Buddhist.
Yeah.
The Christian cross, whatever the Hindi symbol is, looks like a 30. The Jewish tablets with the little star above it.
Yeah.
The Muslim moon.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever chaplain candidate is, that thing looks weird. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize they had different ones. I don't think I've ever seen anything but the cross. But it's not like I ran into 100 chaplains or something. But
yeah,
that's pretty cool. I wonder what's up with the Buddhist like fifth wheel.
But yeah, next.
And then I forgot. Yeah, when they changed uniforms to one that just has the rank Velcro patch in the middle of your chest. Yeah, that's the other thing. I would just see a cross right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Randomness. Or like this guy. Here we go. So they had above the right shoulder, above the name patch, they had a cross, and then it was still a rank in the center of their chest. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I saw. Yeah, memories are hard. Can't remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
So what's your
my honorable mention
guidance? Yeah.
My honorable mention. Actually, I found out. I just looked it up. It is an MOS in the Army. It is taken care of by Army personnel, but it's the guards of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Oh yeah,
those guys
that's not an MOS though.
It's a volunteer only thing. But what I find extremely interesting about it is it has to be, with the exception of maybe the shipmates that are stationed on old Ironsides, one of the strictest positions ever. Like these guys, I've watched countless documentaries about like how they have to prepare for their shift and like how their inspections are, and these guys are living embodiments of perfection when it comes to like uniform and posture and cadence. Like it's really, really, really impressive to see. And if you don't know, I definitely suggest diving down that rabbit hole.
Look up some TikTok videos. You'll see some good ones and funny ones.
I mean, there's videos on YouTube that take you back into their like dressing room. It shows like their whole process.
Well, I'm just talking about like them actually doing the guard process.
Oh yeah, and they
have to
that
chase
shit
off everything.
Yeah, and they're dead serious. It's shit is not a joke, dude. It's not.
Sometimes it feels like a joke though when they're yelling at a bird.
Yeah, the guards for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Yeah, I've seen TikToks where they're like a goose or something walks up there and they walk up and scream at the goose the same way the person. They're like, behind the line. Like, dude, it's a goose. Like, y'all need to have a better process to just shoot the goose off. Like, come on. Goose just looks at you like, you know who I am?
Yeah. But on the similar side, on the Navy, Old Ironsides is the last remaining fully wooden naval ship, commissioned naval ship. And you can get orders to serve on that ship, and it's the same kind of deal. Like, because it's a very public facing attraction, there's tourists, but it's still a functioning warship. Like, it could go out and go do missions right now. Obviously, it wouldn't do too well because it's fully wooden, it's old and outdated, but it's a functioning warship still. And their guidelines and their structure is also extremely strict. You have to be tip top. Matter of fact, there's a height requirement.
You know, that's another thing we should look at for the next stream. Maybe to well, I guess it could go after, but the specialty positions like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and Ironsides, there's a lot of them in the Army too, like all the different trainings you can go to and stuff.
Yeah.
Be cool though. I've always wanted to learn more about them and just never took the time until we're talking about them now. And now I'm like, man, I really want to know, because there's in the Army, there's a sapper, a pathfinder, there's airborne, air assault, and then you got ranger, and you got green berets, red berets for all the different rangers and special forces.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different specialties you can go with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the same thing with the Navy. Like, people talk about the Navy SEALs. It's like, what you don't realize is the SEALs is a broad term for a multitude of different jobs. The SEALs are a team of people with different jobs, and those individual jobs are really, really cool.
I still remember when, like, shortly after I got stationed in Germany, I remember seeing this dude, had to be like in his 50s or something, walking down the sidewalk. And I've never seen anybody like this ever since. Dude was wearing like the green beret, and above his like name tag and shit, he was like Pathfinder, Ranger, Green Beret, fucking just had about 8 different things that at the time I barely even knew half of them were on his uniform. And I'm like, man, that's the kind of guy that could just take out a squad with an MRE spoon, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like the true superheroes of our time.
Yeah. Dude's like John Wick in uniform, man.
Yeah.
Just like, do what you're asking. The walking persona of do what you're asking handle.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, you see guys like that in the movies, and you think, oh, that's just a movie. That's really cool. But it's like, sometimes you have to understand that there are people that exist in this world that are like that. And when you get to meet them face to face, it's an experience.
Yeah, they just look intense.
Yeah, like just being around them is like gives you swirlies.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the guy I'm talking about, I mean, this was going on 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Still can almost envision that dude's face, or just the intensity.
Yeah.
That dude, the kind of like amount of focus that's just like he gives no fucks about anybody walking around him, because he's like, I can murder all of you.
Yeah.
Before you would even know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like just not like no care, but no fear.
No
like
fear.
literally like walking no fear.
Yep.
At least not,
Visible.
fucking not on that base anyway, because that was like a training base. It's
Yeah.
like look, all y'all are beneath me, kind of walk.
Yeah,
It's
it was always like that when I got to be around like the pilots and stuff on the with the FA-18s. Those guys were always real like, oh yeah, I'm the man.
well, yeah, but you're talking about like almost like snootiness, like. This was like the John Wick, I don't give a fuck about you kind of walk.
Yeah.
Like you had respect for him looking at you like that. You're like, you're right. Carry on, sir.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, let me get the fuck out of your way. This
Yeah.
is your sidewalk. I'm just visiting. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
You need me to shine your boots? What's going on? Like, come on.
Right. God damn. You're just, like I said, that kind of person. You're just like, you're almost like proud to be in their presence. Like,
Yeah,
you are
man.
the army. Like,
Yeah.
goddamn.
Yeah.
Haven't really. I think I've only seen a couple people like that just have a lot of shit on the
Yeah.
uniform that you're like, wow.
The closest thing I ever got to that was I got to see. I never got to meet, never got close, but I got to see a Blue Angels pilot, and that was pretty cool.
That's like the show pilot, isn't it?
Yeah, the show pilots for the Navy, the Blue Angels.
Yeah.
When I was in Pensacola for A school, after I got out of boot camp, and Pensacola is where they do a lot of their training. So it was really cool, but also bittersweet in the same way. It's like everybody talks all these great things about the Blue Angels until they're flying over your fucking bedroom at 9, at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like it would. They are really, really cool, and they're some of the best pilots on the planet. But when you hear them every day, it's kind of like fuck those guys.
My first barracks in Germany was the last one, before you like drive out the gates to the field, and right out the gates was the artillery range.
Yeah.
Like fuck, like you said, just God. All hours of the night, just oh shit. Fuck.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it, but still a lot of good memories of it. I'd take the rumbling of the walls anytime.
Yeah, there are definitely some things that I miss. Every once in a while, I do miss the occasional jet going over, because when I was in Washington, that was happening all the time because there were F-18s on base, so it's never something that I freak out about. Like whenever I hear like planes going over, some people are like, oh, I gotta go look out and see what it is. I'm like, no, I'm used to this. Man, that sounds like it's flying real low. It's like, no, it's just really fucking loud.
Volume doesn't equal closeness.
Yeah.
Or proximity.
Yeah. It's like a fighter jet could fly over you and you're not going to hear it for like another 5 seconds until it's already gone. Like,
well, it's like you're talking about the trains, watching the military vehicles on a train. Every time I see that, it just makes me like, dang, man, like maybe I should have pushed through or something.
Yeah.
I've joked several times before that theoretically I could have been retired from the military right now, and instead I'm like year 1 at my current employer.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Is...
No, I mean, I'm in an interesting situation because even if I did like look back and say, oh man, I really wish I'd have just stayed in and retired, I get hit with the realization that even if I wanted to, I couldn't have. So it is what it is.
You could have lied. But,
no. There was no lying in it. I got tenured out. I was the same rate for too long.
You could have joined another branch.
Could have. Could have.
Yeah.
Probably would have been Air Force because I wouldn't have had to gone through their basic again.
I know. I think about that every now and then too when we have these discussions where I'm like, man, maybe I should have just got out and went to the Air Force.
Yeah.
But yeah, but still, I'm not mad at where I am. It's just,
no, absolutely not. I wouldn't change.
Other paths on the road always seem interesting, but not necessarily greener.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think about it all the time. If you'd asked me while I was in the military if I wanted to go anywhere and travel, I'd have told you, fuck no. But looking back on it, it's like, man, I wish I'd have gone somewhere, But then again, I wouldn't know the people that I know. I wouldn't be in the position I am now, and I'm happy where I am now. So I have no regrets. But that's going to wrap our episode for the evening. Big announcement for next week. Next week we will be streaming on both here and YouTube. So if you want to check us out on YouTube, we'll be streaming the podcast live on YouTube at the same time. So if you don't like Twitch for any reason, you can find us over on YouTube. And that's exciting. So make sure you go over there, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us here on Twitch. If you are an Amazon Prime user, make sure you use your free Twitch Prime subscription on us. That helps us. It's free for you. And every Twitch Prime we get effectively takes dollars out of Jeffrey Bezos' pocket so he can't make another penis-shaped rocket.
And another thing that we never really talk about as far as helping us out and doesn't cost you anything, and somebody had brought it up a couple weeks ago, and I keep forgetting about it, is we are a Humble Bundle partner. It's in the top center of our showcase at the bottom here. But same thing, if you click on that link and buy anything from Humble Bundle, a portion of your Humble Bundle purchase comes to us as well.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for any games, they do game bundles, book bundles, software bundles.
Yeah, man.
You can also just buy individual games, but anything you buy after clicking on that link, a portion of it comes to us as well.
Yeah.
It's another one that, doesn't cost you anything. It's the same cost whether you go straight to Humble Bundle or click on our link.
Yep.
But we get a portion of it.
And Humble Bundle is really cool if you hadn't checked it out. Like, I kind of briefly went over it, but I feel like it deserves a little bit more. Every month they have different bundles. And it is kind of a pay what you want type of scheme. Now there's tiers to it. So like the gaming bundle,
like if you pay $5, you get 5 games. $10, you get 8 games. $15, you get 20 games.
And every month is a different bundle, so make sure you're regularly checking. A lot of times, there's a lot of cheap little crummy games in there, but a lot of times there's some really, really good titles in there, and you can find some really great deals on some games. So check that out. If you're into music production or video production or anything like that, there's always really, really, really good software on there for super cheap. It's a great resource. I definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah. And they do a lot of ebook bundles too.
Yeah.
So they'll give you like an entire series of ebooks for next to nothing. They also do like graphic comic books, collections and whatnot.
Yeah, they do all kinds of stuff. So definitely check them out. Anything that you do, again, clicking on that link helps us out. Check us out on Facebook. Join our Discord if you want to hang out with us while we're gaming. You guys know the spiel. I hope everybody has
play on our server.
Yes. Our ARC server is up and running. We are still tweaking a couple of different things here and there, so it's work in progress, but the server is up and running. Look for us. If you have Ark Survival Ascended, you go to the server browser and just type in RUM. You should see it. RUM-Gaming, ASA, quality of life.
For those who aren't aware, there's a new thing compared to the older. You have to check a box on the bottom that says "See private servers."
Yes.
So.
Yeah. But after all that, I hope everyone has a fantastic night, and we will see you next week. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Goat Stream. He'll likely be playing Call of Duty or WoW. No,
we'll be raiding tomorrow. Remember?
That's right. We will be raiding tomorrow, so we will see you tomorrow for the.
Well, maybe. There's like 27 people signed up. So
maybe.
We'll see what happens, but we'll be doing something tomorrow.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Good night.